I turned 64 on a Monday in March. The kind of birthday that arrives quietly, without balloons or candles, without anyone asking what you wish for. At this age, people stop expecting celebration. They assume you've had enough of them already. The house was still when I woke up. Too still. The way it's been since my wife passed 4 years ago. One mug in the sink. One plate on the counter. One chair pulled out from the table. A whole home designed for laughter and noise, now reduced to the soft hum of a refrigerator and the ticking of a clock I never remember buying. I brewed coffee, the same brand I'd been buying for decades, and stood at the kitchen window watching a thin drizzle coat the street. March rain always feels undecided. Not quite winter. Not yet spring. My phone didn't light up. I didn't expect it to. My daughter, Emily, lives 2 hours away now. We talk. We're polite. We check in on holidays. But the closeness we once had faded after her mother died. Grief changes people in different directions. I went inward. She ran forward. By 9 o'clock, the mail truck rolled past. A package landed on my porch with a dull thump. I opened the door and froze. My name was printed neatly on the label. Return address, Emily Carter. I brought it inside and set it on the kitchen table like it might vanish if I looked away. My daughter hadn't sent me anything in over a year. Not a card. Not a photo. Just texts. Short ones. Inside the box, cushioned in bubble wrap, sat a sleek pair of white wireless earbuds. The kind you see in commercials. The kind young people wear while jogging past you in parks. There was a folded note. Dad, I saw these and thought of you. You're always tangling your old wires. These might make things easier. Happy birthday. Love, M. I sat down hard. She remembered. Out of everyone in the world, she remembered. A memory rushed in without warning. Emily at 7 years old, wobbling on her first bike without training wheels. Me running beside her, one hand steadying the seat. Daddy, I'm scared, she'd said. I've got you, I told her. I won't let you fall. She pedaled harder. Found her balance. I let go. She rode 20 feet before she realized. She looked back, eyes wide, then burst into laughter. I'm doing it. I trust you, Daddy. That little voice echoed in my chest as I stared at the earbuds. I charged them that night. Set them on my nightstand. A small light blinked green in the dark. For the first time in a long while, the house didn't feel quite so empty. The next morning, I stopped by my old workplace. I'd retired from the municipal utilities department 2 years earlier, but I still visited once a week. Same break room. Same coffee that tasted like burnt cardboard. Same men arguing over sports. Curtis was there. Curtis had spent 20 years in the military before joining the city. Quiet. Observant. The kind of man who notices exits before chairs. I pulled the earbuds from my pocket. Birthday present from Emily. Howard chuckled. Look at you going futuristic. Curtis didn't smile. He held them. Turned them over. Opened the case. His face drained of color. Where did these come from? He asked. My daughter, I said. Why? He set them on the table slowly. These have been opened. I laughed. They're from a store. No, he said. They've been modified. The room went quiet. Modified how? Curtis's voice stayed level. Additional components. Non-standard wiring. Whoever did this wasn't fixing them. They were adding capability. For what? I asked. He looked at me. Surveillance. I felt heat rise in my face. You're telling me my daughter bugged me? I'm telling you someone did, he replied. And you should go to the police. Howard shifted in his chair. Curtis doesn't spook easy. I left with the earbuds in my pocket and doubt in my chest. The police station felt colder than it should have. A detective named Ramos listened while I explained. He handed the earbuds to a technician. 20 minutes later, they returned. These aren't consumer devices anymore, the tech said. They transmit audio. Location data. Someone can listen in remotely. I stared at the table. Whoever gave these to you, Ramos said gently, intended to monitor you. My daughter wouldn't do that. Then someone used her, he replied. Either way, don't confront her. Let us see what this is about. I wore the earbuds the next day. I talked to myself. Out loud. I mentioned forgetting things. Bills. Appointments. I said I was thinking of selling the house. At noon, Emily texted. Dad, are you okay? You sound tired lately. Have you been forgetting things? Maybe it's time we talk about your finances. 3 hours after I said it. That evening, she appeared on my porch with takeout. I was nearby, she said. Thought I'd check on you. We ate. She asked gentle questions. Too gentle. You didn't call me back Tuesday, she said. I don't remember you calling, I replied. Her eyes softened. It's okay. That happens. Something in her tone chilled me. She wasn't worried. She was cataloging. By Saturday, every lie I whispered into the earbuds returned as concern in her voice. Then I found the folder. It was in my basement filing cabinet. Too new. Too clean. Inside, templates for guardianship petitions. My name typed neatly. Notes in Emily's handwriting. Forgets appointments. Confused about bills. Witness doctor. Power of attorney draft. I sat on the concrete steps, paper trembling in my hands. This wasn't about helping me. It was about replacing me. On Monday, I called my insurance company. You changed your beneficiary 4 months ago, the agent said. To Emily Carter. I never did that, I replied. We have a notarized form. I hung up and called Ramos. There was more. On Tuesday night, through the earbuds, I heard a man's voice. Did he sign yet? No, Emily said. He's resisting. You owe me 30 grand, the man snapped. Your business failed. I covered you. Get it done. He's my father. He's old. Alone. What does he need it for? Silence. Then, softly, okay. I recorded everything. On Thursday, Emily met me at the bank. Ramos was waiting. So was the truth. Emily cried. She said she was desperate. She said he manipulated her. She reached for me. I stepped away. They arrested her in that room. I watched my daughter in handcuffs. And I realized something far worse than betrayal. I realized I had taught her to trust me. And somewhere along the way, she learned how to use it. I walked out of the bank alone. The sun was bright in a way that felt offensive. People passed me on the sidewalk laughing into phones, carrying coffee, living their ordinary lives. No one knew that inside that building, my daughter's future had just been dismantled in front of me. 2 hours later, Detective Ramos called. They picked him up at the airport, he said. Tried to flee with a fake passport. He's in custody. Emily? I asked. She's being processed. Charges for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. I thanked him and hung up. Then I sat in my car and stared at the steering wheel until it blurred. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I felt hollow. Like a house after a fire, walls still standing, but nothing inside. The days after blurred together. Reporters called. Lawyers left messages. I didn't answer. I walked through my home touching things as if I'd just moved in. Susan's mug. Emily's old school photo. The couch where she'd once fallen asleep with her head on my chest during a thunderstorm. I replayed everything. Every scraped knee. Every bedtime story. Every promise. Had I raised her wrong? Had I missed something? Or had the world simply reached her before I could protect her from it? Ramos came by one afternoon. "You did the right thing," he said. "It doesn't feel like it. It never does." Emily's lawyer called a week later. "She's asking if you'll write a letter to the judge. Something about her character." I said nothing for a long time. Then I replied, "She already wrote her own." I changed everything. Passwords. Banks. Locks. I removed Emily from every document that carried my name. I rewrote my will and left what I had to charities Susan loved. I filed for a no-contact order. One afternoon, Curtis stopped by with iced tea. "You okay?" he asked. "Breathing," I said. He nodded. That was enough. That evening, I stood in my living room staring at an old photograph on the mantel. Emily at 7, sitting on my shoulders at the park. Susan had taken it. In crayon, taped to the frame, were the words, "Best dad ever." I didn't take it down. I didn't move it. I just looked at it. 3 months later, Ramos called. "Sentencing's over," he said. Emily received probation. Restitution. Community service. Her boyfriend got 5 years. I wasn't there. I didn't want my last memory of her to be behind a podium. People ask if I miss her. That's the wrong question. I miss the girl who trusted me. The woman who betrayed me is a stranger. I don't use wireless earbuds anymore. I use the wired ones. They tangle. They snag. They remind me that connection has limits. I turned 65 this year. No one remembered. And for the first time in my life, I was grateful. There's a strange quiet that settles into your life after something like this. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that rings in your ears at night when the house is dark and your mind won't stop replaying conversations that can never be changed. I still wake up some mornings expecting a message from her. A simple "Good morning, Dad." The habit is hard to kill. 30 years of being someone's father doesn't vanish just because the truth does. Sometimes I catch myself reaching for the phone, then stopping. Because I remember. I remember the look in her eyes in that conference room. Not anger. Not hatred. Fear. The kind a cornered animal has. And for a brief, terrible moment, I saw the little girl again. The one who scraped her knee and ran to me crying. The one who used to climb into my lap during thunderstorms. That's the part no one tells you. Betrayal doesn't erase love. It poisons it. The world doesn't end when your child turns against you. Bills still come. The lawn still grows. The coffee still tastes the same. The sun still rises. Life keeps going, indifferent to the fact that something sacred inside you cracked. I started walking every morning after that. Same route around the neighborhood. Same oak tree on the corner. Same couple walking their dog. They wave. I wave back. They don't know me. Not really. And that's okay. One morning, a woman stopped me. "Sir," she said softly, "I saw your story online. My son tried something similar. Not as elaborate. But he drained my savings. I thought I was alone." Her eyes filled. "You're not," I told her. And I realized then why these stories spread. Not because people love pain. But because people are desperate to know they're not the only ones. We live in a world that teaches us blood is loyalty. That family is safe. That trust should be automatic. But trust is not a birthright. It is a choice. And sometimes, the people closest to us are the ones who learn our weaknesses best. I still love my daughter. That doesn't mean I trust her. It doesn't mean I forgive her. Love doesn't erase consequences. It just makes them hurt. Some nights I sit in the living room with that photo on the mantle and I talk to it. Not to the woman she became. To the girl she was. I tell her I'm proud of her for learning to ride a bike. I tell her I hope she's not afraid. I tell her I still remember the way she laughed when I let go. Maybe that's foolish. But it keeps me human. If you're watching this and something in your gut feels familiar, listen to it. If a gift feels wrong. If a question feels invasive. If help feels like control. Pay attention. You don't owe anyone blind trust. Not your child. Not your spouse. Not your blood. Protect your name. Protect your independence. Protect the small pieces of yourself that took a lifetime to build. Because sometimes, danger doesn't knock. It hugs you. It calls you dad. It leaves a note that says, "Love, Emily." And by the time you realize what it really is, it's already listening. I used to believe the most dangerous people in the world were strangers. Men in dark alleys. Scammers with foreign accents. Thieves who kicked in doors. I was wrong. The most dangerous people are the ones who know exactly where you keep your spare keys. The ones who know your routines. Your habits. Your fears. The ones who grew up watching you tie your shoes and pack your lunches and kiss your scraped knees. They don't need to break in. You already let them inside. I replay that birthday morning sometimes. The quiet kitchen. The rain on the window. The way my heart lifted when I saw her name on that box. I remember thinking, she still thinks about me. And she did. Just not the way I believed. What hurts most isn't the money. It isn't the paperwork. It isn't even the arrest. It's realizing that somewhere along the way, I stopped being her father and became a resource. An asset. A problem to be solved. I wonder when it happened. Was it gradual? A bad decision here. A bad influence there. Or was it a single moment when desperation overpowered memory? When fear outweighed love? I'll never know. And that might be the hardest part. People like clean endings. They want villains to look like villains. They want heroes to stand tall and feel proud. They want the story to close with forgiveness and hugs and healing music. Real life doesn't work that way. Real life leaves questions. Real life leaves scars. Real life leaves you sitting at a kitchen table on a quiet morning, staring at a mug that once belonged to your wife, wondering how the two people you loved most became ghosts in the same house. I don't hate my daughter. I also don't excuse her. Those two truths exist together now. I carry them both. Some days are easier than others. Some days I laugh at the hardware store with a stranger about how confusing light bulbs have become. Some days I feel almost normal. And some days I hear her voice in my head saying, "It's okay, Dad." That happens. On those days, I breathe. I remind myself I'm still here. I still choose. I still decide. That is what she tried to take. Not my money. My agency. My voice. My right to exist as myself. So I guard it now. Quietly. Carefully. I read every document. I question every offer. I no longer confuse love with surrender. If you're listening to this and you feel a tightness in your chest, don't ignore it. That tightness is wisdom. It's the part of you that knows when something isn't right. Honor it. Ask questions. Protect yourself. You are not cruel for setting boundaries. You are not unloving for saying no. You are not wrong for choosing safety over comfort. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that the person you love is capable of harming you. Sometimes survival means walking away from the very people you once ran toward. I turned 65 this year. The house was quiet. The phone stayed dark. I made myself coffee. I stood by the window. And for the first time in my life, I understood something clearly. Not every loss is a failure. Some losses are warnings. Some are awakenings. Some are the price of staying alive as yourself. I didn't get a gift this year. And that was the greatest gift of all. People think strength is loud. They imagine it looks like raised voices, slammed doors, courtroom victories. But real strength is quiet. It's waking up and choosing to live honestly after everything you believed in has collapsed. It's making breakfast for one and not letting the silence convince you that you no longer matter. It's standing in front of a mirror and saying, "I'm still here." There are nights I sit on the edge of my bed and listen to the house breathe. The pipes ticking. The wind brushing the siding. The world reminding me that time does not stop for grief. I don't ask why anymore. Why her? Why me? Why that box on that morning? Those questions don't heal. They only circle. Instead, I ask something else. What now? And the answer is always the same. Now, I live. I plant tomatoes in the backyard. I fix the loose step on the porch. I wave at neighbors I don't know by name. I walk under the same oak tree and let the sun warm my face. I am not broken. I am changed. There is a difference. I no longer believe that love is proven by sacrifice. I no longer believe that family is beyond question. I no longer believe that danger always looks like danger. But I do believe this. You are allowed to protect yourself. You are allowed to outgrow who someone expects you to be. You are allowed to survive even when it disappoints the people who planned on using you. If you're hearing this and you're older, pay attention. If you're younger, remember. One day, you will be someone's parent. Someone's guardian. Someone's anchor. And one day, you might be alone in a quiet house, holding a gift that feels like love. Pause. Listen. Ask. Because sometimes, what saves your life is not courage. It's suspicion. It's the small voice inside that says, something isn't right. I ignored that voice once. I won't again. Stay sharp. Stay aware. And never forget. The most dangerous things in life don't always arrive with threats. Sometimes, they arrive with a smile. And a note that says, "Love. Your daughter." If this story has stayed with you, if any part of it feels uncomfortably close, I want you to know something. You're not foolish for trusting. You're not weak for loving. And you're not broken if someone you cared for betrayed you. You are human. Trust is not a flaw. It's a gift. It's what allows families to exist, friendships to grow, and strangers to become something more. The tragedy isn't that we trust. The tragedy is that some people learn how to weaponize it. I still believe in kindness. I still hold doors for strangers. I still smile at children in grocery stores. I still say good morning to people who don't expect it. What I no longer do is hand over my life just because someone says, "You can trust me." That trust is earned now. Slowly. Carefully. And that isn't bitterness. That is wisdom. There is a version of my life where I never questioned that gift. Where I signed the papers. Where I lost my home, my savings, my independence. Where I became a name on a form instead of a man in a house. That version of me still exists somewhere in possibility. I carry him with me. He reminds me why I read every line. Why I ask every question. Why I never let anyone rush me. Because once you lose your voice, getting it back is almost impossible. Some nights I still dream of that driveway. Of a little girl on a bicycle. Of her turning back, smiling, believing. In the dream, I never let go. But life isn't a dream. In life, we let go. We raise our children to ride without us. We teach them to stand. We hope they carry what we gave them. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. And sometimes, they come back carrying something we never taught them. That doesn't erase who you were. It doesn't make your love a mistake. It only means the world reached them in ways you couldn't stop. I am still a father. Even if my daughter is no longer part of my life. That truth lives inside me, unbroken. And so does this lesson. Protect what took you a lifetime to build. Your name. Your home. Your independence. Your right to decide who you are. Because sometimes, the greatest danger is not the stranger at the door. It's the one who already has the key. I didn't get a birthday gift this year. No box. No note. No ribbon. Just a quiet morning. And my own reflection in the kitchen window. I poured my coffee. I stood there. And I realized. For the first time in a very long time. I was safe. And that was enough.